Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's week 50. Can you believe it? 50 already. This week has flown by. Hope you have had an enjoyable week and get to enjoy the holiday season a little bit. I went to a party last night with a cookie exchange. So that was fun to see everybody that we hadn't seen in a while. Didn't bring home my complete set of cookies, which is fine because I have lots of leftover cookies from making cookies. I don't know what kind of, if you guys are do any baking, cooking, or whatever at Christmas, but I always get in the baking mood, and cookies are not, I like to eat cookies. I don't like to make cookies, but I love to bake. I bake breads, I bake muffins, but I did make cookies for the cookie exchange, and that was fun, so. Let's see, this week. Well, yeah, you got to see me multiple times this week. Hope you are all having fun with your peacock kits and your turkey kits. And thanks again for everybody who shopped my Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, all that stuff. Cyber Monday sale. I appreciate all of the support. Today we're going to draw for our cards, see what we're going to make for week 50. Yeah, we've only got a couple more weeks left this year, but very excited to see what they have in store for us. And I am also going to show you how to make these earrings. I know, they're trees, they're wire. Now, I have a pair on that doesn't have anything in the middle of the tree. The ones that I'm going to show you do have some beads in the middle of the tree. I mean, they may show up a little better when we flip them over. But we're going to make those today. And I will say, putting the beads in the middle adds a whole nother level of complication to these fun things. But it is kind of cool to see the sparkle. So we're going to work on that today. Hey, Janelda, thanks for joining me. I'm just getting ready to flip things over and get things started with our drawing, and I will show you once again what we're going to make after we do the drawing. Let's get this flipped over. I think I need some of this stuff out on my workspace, so we'll take that out. So just a reminder, last week we made these snowflakes, so that was a lot of fun. And I did get my Christmas decorations up, so you'll notice these are still on my workspace, though. I did not hang them on my tree, but my tree that I have holds it's kind of tiny. It's a saguaro cactus homemade thing that I made out of like styrofoam and shipping tubes and stuff. It's kind of fun. Maybe I'll post a picture of it, but it doesn't hold very many ornaments. Anyways, you just shared yours? Okay. Thank you. So, let's see what we're going to make. Look, I have 3 cards left, which will get me through week 52, right? So, for those of you that haven't been going along with this, so Bead Stash Challengers, we do have 4 decks, or Bead Stash Challenge, we have 4 decks. The 3 cards I have left here are from our most recent decks, which is the Non-Jewelry and Findings deck. So, I'm excited that this is going to get me to the end of the year, and then I get to reshuffle, which means we have made every project, and some more than once, in all the 4 decks of the Bead Stash Challenge. Now, we haven't used every combination, but we have used all the cards this year, so that's very exciting. So let's flip those, mix those up, and we'll see. We are going to make a bookmark. All right. Not a problem. We have lots of options for making bookmarks, but our design may change depending on what we have to use in our design here. So let's get these shuffled. It's almost time, yeah. I know I may, for the beginning of the year, just shuffle everything together, not just my make cards, just to start the new year fresh with everything in there. We'll see. See what kind of mood I'm in when it comes to shifting the cards. Okay. So again, for those of you that haven't joined us before, the used deck, this is going to tell us what kind of components we're going to use in our project this week. My pile here is a combination of all 4 decks. So it's our base deck, our color deck, our beachy sun and sea deck, and then our non-jewelry and findings deck. So let's see what kind of things we're going to use. That's what you're going to do, start the year fresh with everything together? Okay. I probably will too. Use shaped beads in your design. Something other than round or rondelles. Use a charm. You know, I love to put charms on my bookmarks, so that's a good one. I don't have a problem with that. And use brown. So, those of you that haven't heard, the color of the year is mocha something. Basically, you're going to be seeing lots of browns this year. So the Pantone color of the year is brown. So you will be seeing more of those this year. I noticed that a lot of people already have them on sale. I will say I am not a brown person. It is not my go-to color. I do have a friend who it's her favorite color. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't mind brown. It's a nice neutral. It goes with a lot of things. And, you know, I love turquoise. It goes really well with turquoise. So we'll see what we come up with. All right. So our final card, again, for those that haven't been following along, is our challenge cards. Now these will provide a theme or some sort of design challenge to our project. And let's see what we're going to do. We are going to do something inspired by the rainforest. Okay. So, just for those of you that aren't may or may not be keeping track, and you're thinking, I haven't seen those cards before. The rainforest one is from our Sun and Sea deck. The brown, obviously, is from our color deck. The charm is from our non-jewelry and findings deck. And the shaped beads is actually from our original. So we've got everything represented here today. So I think that's a doable challenge. And I look forward to showing you guys some ideas for bookmarks. I made, last year, I made a lot of bookmarks for gifts, and I personalized them for people and used like charms that were things they were into. Some I put their names on them. So it's been, you made a brown necklace years ago and it still is not. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm really surprised they picked brown. I don't really know what to make of that, because most people don't like brown. Yeah, like I said, there are people that do. I am not a brown person. So anyways, all right. So what I want to show you today is this fun little project. I don't know if you've ever made these before, but they're, you know, it's basically a wire tree. So we're making a tree shaped. This one I did put beads in the middle, so if in the right light this would look sparkly. I have little crystals in there. I don't know that you can see them. And I'm using a little hematite star on the top in the rainbow shade, and I put rainbow things in there, and I happen to use antique copper for this design. I also have this design, which just no beads in the middle. I had a metal star bead, and I did use the same green block. We're actually going to use a different cube on the bottom tonight, but The one without the beads in it is a lot less complicated. Getting the beads in the middle, I have not found a simple way to do that. So this will be very entertaining if I can show you how to do it without you being like, oh my goodness, what in the world are you trying to accomplish, right? But I'm gonna show you by putting the beads in them, because I think it'll be obvious enough to how to make them without the beads. Multicolor wire. Yeah, I haven't figured out, you could even probably slide some beads on there. I'll have to play with that design a little. They could just, they might all float to the bottom, though. You'd have to think about that. So I'm going to use some green wire, because I decided I'm going to make a green tree today. I don't know why. I've never used my colored wire to make them before. And then I have some are these 2-inch? Yeah. Just look like 2-inch head pins. And what else do I have in here? So I like to use cubes for my bottom bead, but you could use, you could just stack a couple of, rondelles or, little disc beads or something. Just something that, makes it look like it's a base, right? And then I thought I'd use silver, that maybe that silver would show through the wire a little bit. So I'm using 6mm, 6x4mm rondelles, and then I have a smaller, just 3. I think these are 3s. They're tiny, but a round bead would work too. I guess they're 4mm. I guess these are 6x5s, whatever. But we'll use those. I do have some rainbow cubes as well as some silver cubes. Since I'm putting silver in the middle, I don't know. What do you think? With the green, should I do silver inside and the base? But I do have I think I was going to use the multicolored one, because I don't know why I kept the other ones out, because I'm using the multicolored hematite stars. So maybe we'll go with that. But this may get sloppy. We'll see how this goes. So the first thing you just need to start with is, I start with 12 inches of wire, and I'm using 20 gauge. You could use thinner. You should certainly use thicker. I don't know if the thinner would, it's not going to hold up if it's bumped around as much, but there's really no reason it won't work. It's just your tree's probably going to be thinner. Alternate. Oh, the beads inside. Well, I'd only pulled out the one. Well, we'll see. All right. Well, anyway, so start with 12 inches of wire. And you're going to make a spiral. So if you don't know how to make a spiral, the first thing to do is to make a tiny loop. And you do want to make it tiny, because it's just going around the wire that's going through the middle. So this tiny loop is what's going to be the top of your tree. Now, to make a spiral, the easiest way is to get some flathead pliers, and you just grab your loop and carefully bend the wire around, and you want to do it as close to that circle as you can. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it started. Let me do a couple of this is going to be the boring part to watch, because you just have to spiral this whole wire. And I apparently not making much progress here. And I find, you want it fairly close. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have a little bit of a gap in there, because you're going to spread these out. So see, you can see how I'm spiraling that wire close around that circle, right? So hopefully you can see that. I don't know why I guess there's too much stuff on my on my mat. It's why it has a hard time focusing in. But all right, hopefully you can see that spiral. And like I said, I'm just gonna continue. And you can use round or square wire. The ones I showed you, the silver ones that don't have beads in the middle, I actually made with square wire, which in some ways is easier to spiral, but there's no particular reason for using one over the other. You just want to make sure you're continuing to spiral around the outside and not let the wire, duck under. Which is why I kind of have to take it slowly. But I'm trying to do it as speedily as I can, quickly, as quickly as I can, yeah. All right, so now I have a big spiral here, a little loose. I'm going to pull it tighter. All right. So I've got a spiral and I've got, an end sticking out. You want to put a small circle at the end, and it needs to be going in the same direction as the spiral. It does matter. Now, there's no reason why you couldn't trim the spiral and sort of connect it and just have your tree swinging around. I actually connect mine back to the wire, so it's kind of holding it. It doesn't have any movement itself, and like I said, I think either way is valid, but that's how I've worked them. You have a bead-along cone tap. Oh yeah, that would work too. I have one of those. I think I have one of those cone tools too, but it would certainly work. So like I said, you want to put a small loop at this end. If you want your bottom of your tree attached to the wire, which if you don't, then getting those beads in the middle is a lot simpler. So I put this little loop, and here, now I am really gonna bend this around. I don't have to do this yet, but you're basically bending this around and lining it up with the middle, but don't worry about that. There's going to be lots of adjustments. So one thing you could do is use your chain nose pliers, or your round nose pliers, and just kind of push this up slowly. So you're kind of stretching those loops out, right? And don't worry too much if you get them uneven, because we'll have plenty of time to work them out. You just don't want to get it you don't want to get the circles messed up, but don't worry about the distance in between the spirals. And you could use a pen, you could use a pencil, anything that's, at least got some sort of a cone shape to it, right? So I have this sort of weird shaped spiral, but like I said, don't worry about it, because it'll all get straightened out as we move on. So for the size that I'm talking about doing, this 2-inch, the 2-inch head pin works perfectly. So like I said, I think I'll go ahead and put the rainbow guy on. Now, if I didn't want to attach this loop that's on the bottom of the tree, I could just go ahead and pile the beads on that go in the middle of the tree, right? But since I want this loop, I'm going to go ahead and stick my head pin through there. Now, this is where it gets hard, right? Because you're working to get these beads on. So what I found is the easiest for me, at least, is I kind of bend this top one off to the side. You have to pick the point where it's still big enough to get this 6mm through. And now I'm going to put on the, I'm going to put on 3, because I found that's the size that I need. 3 of the 6mm. And then I'm going to put this small one on because it's going to go up into the top of the tree here, right? And now I'm going to pull it down a little and then just put my wire through the top. So now I'm going to just carefully sort of bend these things back into shape. You can use your pliers to kind of pull the layers together a little. And don't worry, you can adjust, you can continue to adjust this as things go together. But it's now starting to look like a tree. We'll say these head pins, I love the soft head pins for some things, but they do bend a bit, and you could make your own head pins, we've done that before. But now I've kind of got the tree pushed back down there. All right, and I'm going to put my star on. Make sure you get the stars that are drilled through the center. There are some that are like top drilled, which I don't quite understand. Well, I mean, I don't understand how you would have those in a small size, but you might. But see, there we go. That looks like we've got the base of our tree, we've got some sparkle in there, and we've got our star on top. So now it's just a matter of doing a wrap loop at the top. And, you want to push it down a little bit so that the those beads are, you don't have a bunch of extra space in there. You want the beads to fill up the tree. So you can kind of squish the tree down a little. All right. So, like I said, now I'm just going to put a wrap loop here so I can hang it on my earring. And here, depending on what your star is made out of, you do have to watch that you don't break the tip of your star. As usual, I'm going to use my pliers to pull this around because it's too hard to grip with my big old fingers. And you could use, any color combination of wire or beads in here. Doesn't want to tuck in there. And like I said, you have to be careful not to get your point of your star caught in there. I don't like how that was sitting there. There we go. All right. Here we have one earring. I don't know why I never thought about making that with green wire before. Although I may just have bought the green wire this year, so maybe I didn't have green wire. So there we go. So let's make the other one real quick, just as a reminder to show you, because like I said, it took me a while to get the beads in the middle. And like I said, it may not be the best way, but it works as long as you're careful and don't, you know, bend things out of shape. You could get by with a little less than a foot of, you know, if you wanted a shorter tree, you could use less than 12 inches of wire, but I think it makes a nice size tree here. So Janelle, I had a pop-up that said you posted something, so you were posting your cards for this week? Now, when you're doing this spiral, you do have to hold pretty hard to the, even though this is soft wire, it slips a lot in these, in my pliers, so. So again, I'm just slowly making my spiral, and I want it tight. But, you know, you could make it loose, you'll just have a wider a wider tree if you don't have a tight spiral. You'll just have a wider tree rather than a you know, kind of a pointy tree, right? And if you're using a bigger than 20 gauge, you know, like 18 gauge wire, you may want to use less. I don't, you know, I haven't tried it with that because I think for earrings 20 works, and I don't have a lot of colors in 18 gauge because my default is 20 and 22. I actually have a lot of 24 and 26 because I used to do some wire wrapping, which I need to get back into some of that. All right, there we go. So we've got our spiral, and I'm going to put my loop here at the other end. And like I said, I just kind of swing this guy, or twist him over so it kind of lines up with the metal. You can do that later. And again, we're gonna just stick our round nose in here, and we're gonna gently pull down, because like I said, you just want to stretch out these layers. You don't want them to be, you don't want them to lose their circles, right? So I managed to get a really wide opening there, but that's where I need my opening to put my beads in, because like I said, since I attached this bottom piece on, I need some space here. And so again, like I said, for this size tree, I've found that using 3 6mm, you could probably use like an 8 on the bottom, and then two 6s and a 4 would probably work also. You know, it would fill in that part a little bit. You can experiment with that depending on, you know, what you want your tree to look like. All right, so now we just have to like I said, I kind of will straighten the bottom out, and then I just sort of squeeze these together until it comes back into the shape that I want. And sometimes it is easier to shape it a little bit when you have your star on there, because then you can push down. It's pretty much back in shape. Like I said, the bottom of these head pins for some reason end up crooked, but yes, the more you do, the easier it gets. Like I said, it did take me a bit to figure out the best way to get the beads on the inside, because I have seen other people make them. And you know, I made my first pair of these that didn't have them quite a few years ago. I'm sure I saw the pictures somewhere on like Pinterest or something, but never actually watched somebody make them, so I kind of just figured it out on my own. Otherwise, I would give somebody credit if I knew who I got the idea from, right? So, but yeah, there are other people that make these, but all right, now we're just going to put our loop at the top. Just your standard wrapped loop. Yeah, like I said, just gotta be careful. You don't want to break your tip of your star. Fortunately, like I said, I'm using hematite, which is kind of strong and fragile all at the same time, I guess, but they tend to hold up pretty well. And the nice thing is they just happen to be the right size for what I wanted to use. If you're having trouble tucking your thing in, you can always kind of hold the end of your, push everything down a little, just while you finish tucking that in so your star is out of the way. And there we go, we have 2 earrings. So let's put them on some ear wires here. Stuff out of my way. I think my loops are, I always tend to make my loops too small, so I can't just slide these through. You know, you can decide if you have a front and a back. I'm going to make this my front, I think. So just slide that on. Then slowly put that back. I'm going to go ahead and put this end on before I lose it, because they tend to blend in with everything. And we actually managed to make those fairly fast, huh? So I wasn't, since I had worked out how to get those beads in there without too much fighting. Like I said, it looks a little awkward when you're making them, because you're thinking, oh my goodness, I totally bent this out of shape, but you really didn't. It comes back together. Alrighty, here we have our green tree earrings. They're nice holiday things. So I'm actually thinking that these earrings that we just made are going to be my giveaway for December. For anybody that posts, you can get in the drawing, and I might throw in one of these ornaments as well. We'll see. But it's our last giveaway of the year. So I don't know, well, let's see, I won't be doing anything on January 1st, but we'll see. So, you know, I looked at my calendar and I looked at next year's calendar. So there is an extra week this year, since we always do our drawings on Sunday. So I'm actually debating just taking week 53 off, and there won't be a week 53 this year. And then we will start, you know, week 1 in January, that first Sunday of January. So we'll see. Because, like I said, I have just enough cards to get me through week 52. So, like I said, I think I may take off a week. Yes, stop at 52 weeks, yeah. Yeah, like I said, there is an extra week since the way the Sundays hit this year. But, because it would be, my design reveal would be in January, but my drawing would be in December. So, but if I made that week 1 for next year, it messes up. Next year, I still have the same problem. So, like I said, I may just take a week off, and we'll start week 1 in January. Anyways, so there's our little project today. I hope you all enjoy that. If you're catching the replay, let me know you're out there. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over so let me know you're watching. I'd love to know who's out there. If you haven't already, join our Bead Stash Challengers group and get in on the drawings. We'd love to see what you're working on. You know, post some of your holiday earrings or jewelry or something. I will accept that as input this year. Love to see your challenges as well. And if you've got a peacock or turkey kit, or even a turtle kit that you haven't done anything with yet, feel free to post those, because I always like to see who's working on them. If you haven't already, please like and follow us at Desert Cat Creations on Facebook. You know, one way to support small businesses is just to like and share their posts, react to things. It's free to do, and it is very helpful. On that note, I also am trying to grow my YouTube channel. I have put some videos out there. You have to get to 50 subscribers before I let you go live. So my goal for this coming year is to get to 50 subscribers so I can go live on both Facebook and YouTube. Maybe not every week, but some of the times. So if you have an account on YouTube and you can subscribe, I would love it. So be very appreciative of that, and you know, we can get to another audience. Not everybody's on Facebook. I haven't tried lives on Instagram. I mean, I do have an Instagram account, and I don't know what the rules are for how many followers you have to have there. I definitely have more followers on Instagram than I have on YouTube at the moment, but anyways, yeah, it's one of those things I'll have to explore a little. I don't know if there's really more of an audience on Instagram or not. I mean, I know some people have migrated there. Like, I know Kelly Sutton from Kelly's Bead Boutique. They do their lives from Instagram now instead of Facebook, and I'm not sure why she made that decision, but I think she had more followers on Instagram, which is great. But, you know, I have more audience on Facebook than I have on Instagram. But anyways, I would like to grow my YouTube audience as well. So like I said, if you have a chance and you don't mind subscribing. I also have like I said, there's a video for the turkeys as well as the peacocks there. You know, we did live videos for both of those, but the videos on YouTube are a little more concise. It doesn't have all the chit chat going back between between me and everybody else. So if you just want a quick review of how things are done, those videos are due. Yeah, I'm still, I like to look at Instagram. They have great funny cat videos, which my husband and I joke that we go down the rabbit hole of cat videos and we are constantly sending them to each other. And I haven't quite figured out how Instagram works for something, so apparently I'm too old for that. I don't know, but maybe I'll work on it this year. But yeah, it just seems like there's so many other things that I'd rather be doing than trying to figure out another platform. So yeah, the funny cat videos are worth it on Instagram. So they're hard to avoid because once you start watching several of them, that's all your feed fills up with is more cat videos. I think the only thing I have is jewelry making videos and cat videos that pop up on mine, which is fine. You know, it's all happy stuff, right? All right, so Thursday, I will be back at noon on Thursday Mountain Time. We are going to make a bookmark, and it's going to be inspired by a rainforest and use the Pantone color of the year for 2025, which is brown, or mocha something, I don't know. And we'll be using a charm and shaped beads, so it'll be fun. So I just have to decide what style of bookmark I want to make because, you know, there's lots of options out there. So, all right. Well, you have a great week. Be creative. Hopefully you guys are all ready for the holidays. I need to get busy and wrap the presents I need to mail. Get those out of my house so that I can start enjoying myself more. So anyways, all right. Well, bookmarks on Thursday. So have a great week, and I look forward to seeing what you guys are making. Bye.